was on cable.
In a time where news breaks on X before it even reaches television screens, and a digital story can be uploaded from your smartphone in the matter of seconds, digital media has turned traditional journalism on its head, reshaping the way that we consume information, trust our sources, and validate credibility. Learn more about how this is reshaping the world around us.
Journalism's digital transformation didn't happen all at once. It unfolded in stages, beginning in the early 1990s when the very first online news publication appeared. Journalism historian, professor, and author Wayne Dawkins has a vivid memory of when television was first introduced to the media industry.
So I'm from the analog era. So in the 1980s, say, in our newspaper newsroom in New Jersey, a decision was made to put a TV on top of a big file cabinet in the main newsroom so we could just be aware of what's going on around us.
The Columbus Dispatch was the pioneer of these digital services, offering text of its stories through CompuServe, one of the earliest online communication platforms. Soon after, some of the country's most iconic papers followed, such as the Washington Post, New York Times, and the Virginian Plot.
I've been in media for 45 years, either as a working journalist at 4 daily newspapers or a journalism and communication professor at 2 top HBCUs. And I have witnessed when we went from typewriters and landline phones to personal computers. And back then, at the very beginning, we were just word processing. There was an internet, we just didn't know it existed.
The shift that Dawkins explains is reflected in national data. A Pew Research Center study found that by 2022, 105 digital-first news outlets had primary domains, reaching at least 10 million monthly visitors, according to the audience measurement company Comscore. The study highlights how the audience landscape has decisively shifted online as traditional print publications continue to lose circulation with its younger readers. This turns to digital platforms, podcasts, newsletters, and social media, all for their daily news.
We're now 25 years into a new century, and we have pretty much shed off the old ways of the 1900s. We're getting to the point where there's almost nothing remaining of the 1900s. So we are all in this 21st century. And now we have to even be thinking about what's coming next.
For many young adults, news is whatever appears in their feed, whether the source is credible or not. In the digital age, credibility is both more important and more fragile than ever. Platforms have become search engines, amplifying opinions, influencers, and misinformation faster than some newsrooms can respond. To understand how this shift challenges journalists on the front lines, I spoke with Steve Luzerai, a current news producer at WDIV Local 4 in Detroit. With 29 years in the journalism industry, he's seen credibility evolve in ways no one expected.
You can be the type of person who never watches a newscast on TV, but you can still be in the know of what's happening around your community, your world, because of how that whole informational process has evolved.
With that evolution comes a new kind of risk. The same platforms that keep audiences informed can just as easily mislead or misinform them. Images appear without context, videos circulate without verification, and artificial intelligence has blurred the line between what is real and what is manufactured. Because today, the biggest challenge isn't just finding the information, it's trusting the source.
The onus is on journalists, especially, to be extra cautious, to be extra careful about what they see. It's almost come to the point where unless you yourself see it happening in real time in front of you, you have to have that nugget of a doubt that this video or this photo could be manipulated.
I asked former students and industry leaders what grabs their attention during a breaking news moment. Few understand that impact better than Rashida Jones, a former president of MSNBC and the first Black woman to run a national television network.
Months before I graduated, we had this terrible terror attack in the US on 9/11. And I was a student here, but I was also working full-time at a local television station. And it was the first time in my then short career that I realized not only the power of storytelling, but the responsibility of it. And I was able to see how much the work that we were doing was a public service, and the work that I was directly producing, writing, editing was making it onto a screen to inform all of the people in the market what was happening. And so for me, that particular incident, that particular moment shifted my thinking of this being an interesting career, a lucrative career, something that would be challenging me, to really a responsibility. And I've tried to maintain that throughout my career. You know, this isn't just work we do because we like it. It's important work because it has to be done, and it has to be done with integrity.
Jones reminds us that while technology has changed the platforms, it hasn't changed the mission. Speed means nothing without responsibility, and reach means nothing without truth.
I think the format isn't necessarily a compromise on the quality. You still have to maintain the same amount of quality, the same amount of integrity in your storytelling and your reporting, but it is possible to do it in different ways. You know, I'd rather have shorter form content that maintains that integrity, that maintains that quality, that people actually watch, versus longer form content that people aren't watching.
Finding creative ways to tell stories is the key to creating a fan base and reaching your target audience. Stormy Blue, a full-time content curator with over 300,000 storm chasers across all platforms, found her target audience through lifestyle, content creation, and creative storytelling.
So I guess I would call myself a vibes blogger, and I say that because I think that I give people like I don't want to say hope, but in a way, it's kind of like hope of the 757.
Defining digital journalism is not simple. Blue's content is engaging, informational, and impactful. But is it considered journalism?
Like journalism, obviously what you do, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes actual research. And then there's content creators who are just saying things, you know? So I guess where's the line drawn at what's journalism and what's just content creation?
While traditional journalists hold a certain authority to inform, today's storytellers share that same responsibility and the influence that follows. Blue understands the weight of that responsibility. Though she doesn't identify as a traditional journalist, she recognizes that credibility is everything.
Like, I'm not just gonna sit here and lie. I'm not just gonna not fact check. I'm not just gonna spread random things. So I do think that if somebody is, doing digital journalism and they're having on TikTok and they're talking about all these big topics, they need to do their research, and they also need to, I guess they also need to just have an understanding of both sides.
As digital platforms continue to redefine the pace and power of storytelling, one thing remains clear. Journalism is evolving, and so is the audience that it serves. To stay updated on more things in the digital revolution and how journalism is involved, stay tuned on Brooklyn Miller TV.